Blessings, 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 blessings be unto you. This is Mercedes Work, and welcome to Sacred Key. I have been doing a series of videos about my studies and what I've been learning at the Foundations for Contemplative Care, hosted by the New York Zen Center. And I've been in contemplation. Our precept for this month, I'm going to read it, is do not kill. Do not harm, honor life, spirit, and the purpose of all things. We were actually sitting in our residential meeting when the news of the Middle East broke and deeply affected the people within the class. I'm going to stay in my wheelhouse. This is not intended to be any statement of support or opinion or judgment. And I'm going to be kind of combining some things while that I'm doing this with what is mine to do, the heart of that. I'm also been in contemplation about holding the sacred ground, holding space, which there's a series of videos. And I got a new symbol a couple of days ago through the contemplation. This is the intersection of the pathways and the crossroads. Intersection of the pathways and the crossroads. That's the new symbol. So that's sacred soul ignition, right? I think that that's what makes this. There's times that I just really appreciate the process and how I've evolved and matured. Not anywhere, still growing to do. Believe me, found that out as well. So I'm going to do some things here and kind of lead you partially through the journey of my contemplations. And hopefully through this discussion or through this sharing, you may find what your divine calling is in all of this. My guidance has been whispering almost constantly when I've gone to take a move or do something: patience, 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 patience. And we can go into, let's take a breath. Just take a moment. Let's breathe in. May I be guided. Thank you. All right. So just patience, patience, patience. And I wasn't really called to hold the high watch in some of the more traditional ways. It was like my guidance was saying, wait. Usually when something like this happens, I head to the altar and I pray. And it was so interesting because the energy has been layered. And so I almost felt like there was all the surface energy of the actual things that were happening, the emotions, the grieving, the mourning, the horror, just this and so from that point of view, of course, prayers are always helpful. But when we go into holding the high watch, the calling is what is mine to do. And I think that's why I kept hearing the words patience. And to be honest about it, I had some growth that had to occur, some shifting in the thinking. And then there's, as I was saying, these layers. They're not like a, I almost wanted to use a cake analogy. There's all these layers, but there's a layer, and then there's icing, then there's a layer, and then there's icing. That might be appropriate, but the whole thing is the cake, right? And so we, in spirituality, we always talk about responding, not reacting. So I think that there was sort of this visceral, almost reaction to, just having a human heart going, how could this be, right? And so there's times when, every day actually, I just sit in the course of study that I'm taking right now. We just sit as Zen and be in the bodies, the body of the Buddha, the body of the Dharma, which is the wisdom, and the body of the community, which is the Sangha. And so I just practiced that. It's a different practice than my usual practice, and in some ways I'm really beginning to enjoy it. At first when you're learning something, it feels uncomfortable, but the reason why I'm enjoying it is because it is really allowing me to be in that mind-body connection, to not just sort of go unrooted into the stars, which is I have done in the past, but it's allowing me to be in my body, to be present in this moment, and to not really pray for anything. If anything, I would say, you've heard me say in my teaching, resting in God, just resting in the knowing that God is present here, the divine is present here in all of this horror. How do I see the divine? How do I see the divine in all of this horror? How am I to be present in all of this horror? How am I to be human? And the question from holding the high watch, what is mine to do, right? So when I pulled my cards, October 1st was my 6th anniversary of living through and thriving with stage 4 cancer, and I pulled my cards, and the sacred key was love. And I really meditated and looked at this symbol. I just stayed with it. And I realized, matter of fact, I have to go check the final drawing because I think I might have put something in the middle here. But I kept feeling like open heart, sacred heart. So let's just breathe that in. Breathe in, open heart. I am the sacred heart. I am. Open heart, sacred heart. One heart. I am. I was grateful to receive that card because it kind of laid the foundation whenever my thinking would go awry, or I'd say open heart, sacred heart, one heart, divine, I am, So I'm going to say a couple of things here. Most of you who would be viewing this or watching this have been in your spiritual practice, have been in your religious belief system, as well as your spiritual lifestyle and your spiritual life system. And we, me too, have been blending and making a recipe for how we can live morally, ethically, spiritually, lovingly, caringly, kindly, prayerfully. And as we move into or from taking a class to moving into a lifestyle practice, my guidance was like, they're on my tongue, this is applied spirituality. And I haven't used that phrase in many, many moons, but this is applied spirituality. It's time to apply your spirituality. And it, like the layers of the cake, it's like sitting in Zen. The reason why I love it is because it's time to root it, to really be rooted in it, to be grounded in it, to be like bringing that the frequencies of your belief system, the vibrations of your belief systems, and really bringing it down into a frequency, into tangible form, into a way that we can apply the spirituality. And through that sitting, through that patience, we get the divine calling, right? Part of the first showing up is to be in the living Buddha, is what I'm calling my study. Be in the living God, be in the living Christ, be in the living love, be in the living goddess, right? And so that living spirituality, that living energy, to bring that down into your actual human form and feeling that in the body. And what happened, I'm just going to be very transparent here. Friday afternoon, Friday morning, I was hit with a bout of anxiety. That's what I'm calling it. Something didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. I mean, I got really anxious. Like something just did not feel right. And nothing really materialized, at least through now, the time of, this is Saturday morning. I rested. I don't know if I was picking up the energies of what was happening in the world. That does happen with me sometime. But I had to put myself on a timeout and kind of, again, full transparency, I didn't breathe. I went to sleep. I tried to rest, and then I might have done, I don't remember, I might have done some breathing sequencing, but I sat as quietly and did the things I know to do when the anxiety has reached my body. You know, it's out of the thinking mind and the thought mind, and it's actually in my body. I did a meditation I didn't want it settling in my body, so I did a meditation. I do know that. And then I drift off to sleep. And then I'd try to find something soothing on YouTube, you know, usually Thich Nhat Hanh or some music, and then I drifted off to sleep. And so when I woke up this morning, and it was early, 3:33 actually, I began to take the notes down that I'm conveying to you, but I feel that I'm out of the middle of it now. I think maybe yesterday, I was feeling my own mortality, my own sense of hopelessness and how we ever move to a peace-filled world. And this morning I had a vision. I'll see if it comes forward as we go through this, but this morning I had a vision, and that even seemed so huge and monumental, doable, but it definitely needs the heart, the sacred heart. It's going to need that open heart. And we have to, this open one heart, this open heart, this sacred heart, this one heart is really that. It's a deep respect for listening and understanding and feeling. And we're in such a tumultuous energy right now. I personally can only think that if I'm holding the beacon, if I stand as the beacon, this is the other card, and as the radiant point of connection, that maybe we can set up some sort of spiritual electrical grid between all of us, apply our spirituality, and just be in the know that the one sacred heart will be the foundation of the solutions past the violence, right? So the answer that came was apply your spirituality, apply your belief system, apply the knowing of the divine and the relationship that you forge with the divine, and just sit, not fix, not ask, petition, just sit and allow. And through that sitting, with the breath, without the breath, prayerfully, with your, I always say, go to your one line, go to your sacred promise. I call it the sacred key promise. In my case, the 23rd Psalm my mother gave me, the Lord is my shepherd. And just stay in that one line. If you want to be if that helps you be in the divine connection. The beacon is the point of connection and alignment. And in my sittings, when I saw it, I saw a lighthouse, which was the first time that I'd seen that. And the lighthouse actually shows safe passage, right? It shows where the shore is. It sends out its horn. It's welcoming sounds. And I saw that the lighthouse itself doesn't really say only these people who believe these things, or these people who look this way, or these people that are from a certain village can come into me for safe haven and refuge. Thank you. Thank you. Just feeling the wave here starting. And so between these two cards, if we just applied our spirituality and stopped here, these ignitions, this energy, and you kind of stayed in that. And then for me, because of my studies, do not kill, do not harm, honor life, spirit, and the purpose of all things. So what I'm feeling is that this is a flow, and it is kind of I call it the catching of the wave. It's the catching of the wave. It's the catching of the energy, frequency, and vibration that is yours to align with, to be the point of connection, and then to bring that out. Some of us may be the healer, and what does that look like? What does that look like? Maybe you'll be in a conversation and it will begin to get heated and politicized, and you heal the environment. You bring a special calming and love and perspective, because we're going to need these individual pieces to begin to come together before we can come together as a unit, or maybe even just having that energy out there. This is the third energy. This is the next card, the third energy, and it says basically when any two gather, but we cannot be in conference together, in communion together. Even you just watching this video at this moment, when any two energies come together, it ignites a third energy that is individual and perfectly unique. And it's just like when the egg and sperm comes together, and that those two ignite, there's a spark and there's an ignition, and the potential for life and a new child is born. I believe that life is sparked, is ignited, and that is even though the mother is present and the father is present, that energy is now a unique presence of its own, with a purpose, a prayer, and an ignition, right? And so for me, it's like taking that walk and being aware of that. Like, how am I speaking? Am I being kind? With so much violence in the world, it's almost like it doesn't really matter whether or not I am focusing on the specific violence, rather than being Gandhi, being the peace that I want to see in the world, right? Being the love that I want to see in the world, being the kindness that I want to see in the world, and holding that energy and frequency and coming into it. I don't want to say deeper, because that's almost feels like, I've been using this term for a while, spiritual cliche, but coming into relationship with it. And when we're coming into a relationship, it's not there may be some turbulence, there may be some healing. As you heard me say, I've been sitting and asking for understanding and compassion, and maybe even compassion without the understanding. At one point, I did get some understanding recently, last night, this morning. But being this beacon means that we just walk. As we walk, we talk, we pray, we live in that applied spirituality. So I looked up the word solutions today. This morning it came forward, and it was like soul-u-tions, right? And off of the internet, the Oxford Languages site, soul, the spiritual or immortal part of a human body. And I added this is mine added, vibrating at a frequency that densifies this energy to be contained as or within, depending on your belief system, the human form. The spiritual or immortal part of the human being, and then I added vibrating at a frequency that densifies this energy to be contained as or within the human form. Okay. And then shun forms a noun. So nouns are person, places, or things. Its form is here. Zen, body and mind sitting on that solid foundation. When we go into Zen, we're breathing into the belly. We're going into a foundation where we have our feet, where we're sitting firmly on the ground. Our sit bone is connected. It almost feels like there's a triangle. We're in that lower belly. We're feeling that form, right? So we become the noun. We become the point. We become the prayer. We become the spirit. We become the calling. So the shun is forming nouns of action, condition, indicating a state, a condition, an action, a process, or results. So soul, the energy of the divine, vibrating at a frequency that can have influence, that can act, that can become form or a process that is yours to do, that is the you action, the you prayer, the you sit. Solving a problem, solutions, solving a problem or dealing with a difficult situation. And the way that I look at this is my sitting is the dealing with. The vision that I had this morning was so otherworldly that I could just sit with it. It's way beyond my purview to activate, I think. I don't know, maybe something will come forward. But and I'll tell you about that in a minute. I think I'm going to actually tell you about that. But it is releasing. I think the way that I would like to use the soul-you-shun is it is the releasing of myself into the divine solution, into the divine animation, and sitting there to be a vessel, saying, what is mine to do, to be that point of connection. And the other thing, I'm smiling because the other thing I had this morning was maybe that was mine to do. Maybe that vision was enough for somebody to catch the wave of the vision and they'll know what to do with it. Or maybe it ignites some new thinking, something along those lines. But just me being the point of alignment for pulling that idea, into this into this realm we call Earth, right? Into the humanly realm. So the final thing I want to say in this, and then I'll stop looking down and start looking at you a little bit more, is, and we're 28 minutes in, this is going to be long, karma. I pay attention to words when they start coming at me from a lot of different ways, and a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And I think I had about 5 times the word over the last 48 hours, karma, 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 karma. I was like, all right, already, I'll sit with this. And I think that's why the intersections of pathways and crossroads came, because we all need to exhale and be kind and come into the curiosity of circumstances of individuals, as well as circumstances of history, our personal history. So, karma, I had somebody tell me, oh, that's the law of cause and effect, but there's also this very negative, an eye for an eye, will make everybody blind, right? But the sort of more negative energy of karma, there's a continuum. Where are we going to fall? And the teaching that I got, or the consideration, I'm going to put that in my guidance, it was like a consideration. It was like, what if you were on a pathway and your life, and within your life, some really horrible things have occurred. And I'm going to say to you, to me, I'm going to speak in the I, because part of this is very true for me. And you reacted or responded in a certain way. And whatever that way, the way you responded, created what we would call the traditional definition of karma, right? So it may be something as simple as squashing a bug, in some, to revere life in such a way that even killing something that is like the mosquitoes. I've swatted at a few mosquitoes. Las Vegas is having a mosquito invasion, and can I pray that mosquito away? But the mosquito is making me pay attention to his buzzing, and you should have seen me. I looked like I was a raspberry. I had so many mosquito bites. Do not kill. Maybe somewhere along the line, I've thought about this. I might have killed the spirit of somebody, or the ingenuity of somebody, or the inner power, the empowerment of somebody, because I spoke and took a position or a judgment or a stance that was different, and it squelched somebody else's idea or position, because they were disempowered them, killed their power, basically. So this do not kill precept is so much more complex than killing, attacking, the things that we've experienced in our world recently, right? So the power of karma is that I can be, I exist as force and power, and I can create, I can become that third energy that allows, that it creates, that stimulates, that revives, that puts spirit and life and energy and force, life force, into breathing that into a person, an idea, that I can be, I'm going to use this word right now, but I can be a karmic force for positive change. And I wanted to put that out there, because the way that people were using the word karma after the 5th round or so was, I'm being punished for something. What are you creating in this moment? What am I creating in this moment? Law, cause, and effect. We look at things like, this is the effect. But you can positively be the force of creation. In my work, I call it the Genesis frequency. You can generate, you can be, because once we understand, and again, going back to the applying of the principles and the living of the principles, not allowing the principles to just sort of happen to us, right? How are we applying what we believe down in our soul, and what is mine to do, and how can my energy, my frequency, my prayer, my application of the principles, the morals, the values, the speaking, the spoken word become the actual tangible solution. My soul, as me, here physically present on this earth to bring forth a form. You plant that bulb into the ground and you expect to have a beautiful garden. What is, I'm going to speak in the I, what is my soul asking me to do? This morning it's this video, right? Somebody may see this and go, I hadn't thought about that in this way. How can I be the peace? How can I forge? Is it as simple as two of us getting together and creating a third energy and then standing as a beacon for peace? And when I say being a beacon, believe me, I've had limited resources. I haven't known what to do. It's not a material thing. Don't let your resources or your lack of or your plenitude of be the thing that drives you or to behave, to believe, to be any different. This is at the frequency level. Like we're going down literally, you know, when we go into the depth, we talk about going into the depth. The depth is rooting ourselves in our bodies and allowing ourselves to be and feel the force of the divine come together. Thich Nhat Hanh, mindfulness plus concentration equals insight, right? Mindfully being present in hearing what somebody's saying to us, mindfully eating our food. You know, I've been watching YouTube and eating at the same time. Last couple of days, I got really bad indigestion too one day. But the last couple of days, I've put the phone, because I'm watching it on my phone, I've literally put the phone in a different room, right? So I can be present with my food. Can I be present with peace? Can I be present with the energy of peace? Can I sit? Allow me to be the peace I want to be in the world. I am the peacemaker. I am the peacekeeper. I am the peace purpose. Your body may talk with you during this time. Be compassionate, caring towards yourself. Your heart may be really hurting. And take that deep sigh of release, just taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the tightness, the anxiety, from all kinds of different ways and sources. Sometimes I'm finding when I have the purpose of sitting in Zen, a large part of it is sitting with myself and allowing myself to be truthful. I think, and that allows me, there's another precept, but to be truthful with myself. You know, we sat in my first practicum this week, and one of the things that came forward was it's okay to recognize the fear, the hurt, the anxiety, the pain, cancer and pain. And one of the things that came forward was, is that true? Does that have to be true for me? And just sat with that, and then felt the pain and where that belief was in my body, and just breathed it out, right? Going to sleep yesterday, too much was coming at me from too many different directions. My living, things that were happening in my living, things that were happening in the world, right? It's time for me to rest. That was my truth. There was something I really wanted to attend Friday, and I woke up at 7:45 for a 3:45 thing. Completely missed it. I really wanted to attend it, but I needed to rest, and I think I didn't need any more energies. Like, I needed to come into my energy to understand where I wanted to be in this, what I wanted to say, and if my voice would be valuable, heard. And not blind. I don't know if that's maligned, I think it's the word, maligned. Right? So much. We're in a big time right now. And it's calling us to be quiet spiritually. To know. Be comfortable in the unknowing. To understand that all of our life's experiences, to honor this frequency that was gifted us, all of our life experiences, the pathways, the learnings, the teachers that we've been placed in front of, the things that we've rejected in our lives, the things that have been hard in our lives. There are times that we get to the intersection and we have to decide, we have to choose. And sometimes it's very immediate, like something's happening in this moment and it's very immediate, and we have to be in our they're saying we have to be in our choice place. But if we choose to react, it's not karma. If we choose to be, it is the right thing, the right place, the learning, the blessing. There's something there that is divine. There's something in this that is divine. And maybe now that we are in the intersection of the crossways and the crossroads globally, right? We'll begin to be and see and hear and act. I don't want to say react, but act differently. How can this be happening and we're not affected? If we're all one, I mean, just I choose to just think about the things that I've come to believe to be true for me. If we're all interconnected, then more things will come out of this violence than that which we are just seeing edited through the media, right? More things will be affected. We're all interconnected. So, that is my video sharing about my class this week with the Zen Center. And it's kind of a, like I said, an intersection of the soul ignitions, because the new symbol came, and the learnings, living the precept, being living spirituality, and being tender with the openness of your heart. Being tender with yourself, allowing yourself to explore through the heart, and sitting with your soul, sitting two ways, sitting to be just rooted in the experience of what's happening in this moment, in this breath. I breathe, the sacred key healing. I breathe every moment, every breath is a devotion. I breathe, every breath is a devotion. I sit. Every moment is now, right? I think that is enough for now. I hope you're still here. Wow, let's just take a deep breath in and feel as we exhale the foundation and the strength, allowing your feet to be on the ground, forming a foundation. On the next inhalation and exhalation, dropping into your belly, knowing that this is a reservoir of the energy, the life force, where we can draw from the Dantian. And just imagining that the sit bone, the tailbone, your legs, your feet, and that pinnacle and the Dantian is forming this kind of foundation, a strength of connectiveness to the earth. And as we pull this energy up through the heart, strengthening and lengthening the spine, exhaling and settling that breath into the heart. So we have a strong foundation, a strength through the rooting of our feet, a lengthening of our spine. We've dropped in to be connected, and we breathe up into the heart to allow us to be open to the sacredness of this moment. And now pulling the breath up through the top of the head and allowing yourself to lengthen the spine, and then just opening your eyes slightly, tilting your chin downwards. And now we have a connection between the foundation, the storehouse, the open house, the wisdom house. Opening our eyes and taking another deep breath in and opening our chest and rolling our shoulders and allowing that to be. The eyes in Tai Chi, slightly looking down, to be in this real moment, this realized now. Feel any strain in your neck or your shoulders, taking another deep breath in and allowing the thought to come down into down, 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 and slightly bringing your chin down and relaxing your shoulders, and giving that thought into the earth. As I breathe in, I am in this moment. And as I breathe out, I am the moment. I am the devotion and the light. The prayer and the realization. I am. I am. I am. Closing your eyes. Amen. Sitting here for a moment. As you're ready, opening your eyes. Okay. Blessings be unto you. May you know the divine intimately. Namaste.